Was appropriately titled. This was a really, really interesting piece. They did a good job of taking ordinary things and making them, well, nasty and gross. Like all the textures and the way that they're squished and like mushed around. It was really effective, especially when you add in the music and those sound effects of the crunching and the squishing. Like the sounds were just another layer that really elevated everything we were watching. This piece just invoked so many senses. It was wonderfully weird and creepy, sort of an erotic tone to it. It was a great watch.
I thought this one was delightful. Just really eerie, but in a playful and definitely nasty and creepy kind of way. Just the way it gets us into it all is great. The way it plays out, execution is just fantastic. Performances are great. Really an interesting concept. The writing is so minimal and so effective. There's just a lot of great elements. I could go on all day about this one, but it just needs to be experienced. They do so much with so little. Just for the cost of a bowl of fruit, they can really evoke all kinds of reaction. Honestly, it's really really smartly done. I can't overstate that enough, and I highly recommend checking
This
out
had a great
Nest.
opening. I thought that it was very interestingly shot. I thought that the story was interesting. I wasn't certain about kind of what was going on or you know, what I was seeing, but I started to understand that there was this vibe of you are what you eat, and that was what I went with. I thought that the music that they chose really helped to build the suspense as you start getting to the end of the film. Um, yeah, it was different. This was really different and
You know,
interesting.
Nasty was dope. Nasty, I really like the style, the cinematography, the production design, the intentional like center framing instead of third framing on some shots. The symmetrical, it kind of reminded me of Wes Anderson a little bit, inspired by Wes Anderson a little bit. But I really, really want to shout out the sound design. Oh my goodness, the sound design. People always sleep on the sound design. The sound design really stood out and kind of made this film. Um, like all the eating and the biting and like the noises. Excellent, excellent work, excellent work, excellent work. 10 out of 10 sound design. Yeah, overall, really creative idea, really good writing, but really award worthy sound design. Good job.
I say that in the best way. I know that was probably your intention, just this gnashing and gnawing and just like this grotesque nature of eating food, but like specifically like fruits. I appreciate that it was fruits. It made it less so. And it was surprisingly comedic the entire time. Even though it was like, it was wild. It was wild. But I really enjoyed just this nastiness and this grotesqueness kind of like perpetuated by the male in the entire thing. You think there's like this rivalry between the two girls, but in the end they come together and rip this guy to shreds in the form of fruit. And once he's gone, they eat all civilized and stuff like that. You have this image of this girl like destroying the food, being completely disgusting and building these dolls, but then it goes straight into the boy eating it, eating the fruits and stuff like that, mashing everything up, just being insane. It belongs in like a modern art museum. Like that's really what it reminds me of. It reminds me of something that I would probably see at MoMA. Like it was really interesting. I really enjoyed watching it. I actually watched it twice. I really thought it was interesting. It was really visually pleasing with all the bright colors of the nastiness. But I really enjoyed it. It was really, really well done.
So incredible. The way that it shocks the audience. The way that it has this like visceral element to it, and they're taking these regular everyday things and foods and just making them so disgusting. It's like the opposite of ASMR. It's like the worst version of it. Um, I think the opening scene was really, really strong, where we see this girl in the mirror, and she's, you know, looking at pictures of her crush, and we see the Barbie, and it's just a regular looking Barbie, and then the next scene she's just pulling it apart, and then she gives it a pear body, and you're just like, wait, what is happening? Tons of creativity came from the creator of this, because just you're seeing things in ways that you probably haven't before, and hearing them in ways that you haven't before. And I thought that the end scene of them feasting, we'll say, was just so masterfully done. And it was gory and gross, but also not, because they're just eating fruit. But we know that the fruit is being subbed for something else. And I thought it was an absolute masterpiece. Great job to like the filming, the editing, but also the actors, who just surprised you at every turn. Incredible job.
A surreal film where we got to see Josie's inner fantasy play out, to exactly her satisfaction. I think that I was consistently surprised by the film, even though we were given clues along the way as to where it was headed. I was never exactly sure what to expect. I think that the shrine in particular gave us big clues, and the prominence and the focus on fruit, but the fruit was used to indicate both sensuality as well as disgrace through the spitting, and also in the end the fruit was used to convey violence, and so I found that interesting. I think that I did not expect Matt to so readily accept Josie's invitation to her house, nor did I expect Cindy to end up joining in with Josie, because it read as sort of Josie having a romantic infatuation with Matt, when in fact she wanted to do something quite different. And I think that from a visual perspective, the two girls eating away at him was very well presented through the fruit. I think that it was both interesting to watch and also very clear what was going on.